Maladavia, a kingdom once so beautiful, reduced to rubble by the very magic that created it. During the reign of King Vladimir Maladavius, peace rang forth between provinces. The hills and forests remained calm and ever giving to those in need. There was no war. There was no danger. There was only opportunity and freedom. A few short years later, the dark times came. The kingdom was destroyed by a cult who believed that the child of Vladimir would prevent them from accomplishing their goal of releasing an evil like no other. When the land was covered in shadows and the gods seemed to have vanished, a young knight appeared from the north. His golden armor and soothing voice brought hope to those who had lost everything. Prince Levid Maladavius vowed to lead the people of the fallen kingdom, his people, to victory against the cultists of Hydranus. This menacing god of destruction must not be allowed to enter the mortal realm. A band of adventurers, Grimke, Ryu, Xanthos, and Ravilion, joined their new king in the quest for light. Together they traveled through an unknown void and assaulted what was known as the Sanctum of Chaos, an army of loyal followers at their heels. They valiantly slaughtered waves of monstrosities on their way to the well-defended castle, losing the majority of their men before reaching its gates. Inside, they met the animated demonic armor of Hellraiser, who once defeated Grimke 6 months prior and stole the legendary Gornagaya blade for his master, Hydranus. Upon defeating the anomaly, the heroes were able to release the gods from the dimension that once held the dark deity. But their task was far from complete, for he was almost at full strength, and the portal between realms was still open. While searching the colossal kingdom, the floor began to rumble, and the walls shook fiercely. Before they could figure out what was happening, Hydranus tore his way through one of the walls in the main hall, and swiftly came after his prey. They were unaware that their adversary was larger than a dragon, and unimaginably deadly. He tore through the castle, destroying everything in his wake, and tearing through the protagonist with ease. They had no choice but to flee, avoiding his giant claws and menacing teeth. But before he could land the finishing blow, several rays of light pierced through his flesh. The gods, having reached the heavens, combined their energies to banish Hydranus once again. Their judgment was upon his betrayal of the ancient code that forbid any deity from directly influencing the mortal realm, and by having his general, Hellraiser, trick them into entering the eternal void they would be imprisoning him in. The light ripped through his body until he evaporated into nothing, transported to another dimension for eternity. Because of the destruction and ruin Hydranus had brought to Tarasin, the gods decided to undo what had happened during those few short years. The events that took place would be erased from the minds of those still in the mortal realm, so that the idea of the cult of chaos may never again come to pass. Only those who remained alive in the Sanctum of Chaos would know what took place on that horrific day. The gods granted each one of them a wish for their deeds. Grimke wished to protect the Gornagaya so that it may never fall into the wrong hands again. His spirit was then melded into the blade, and he would make sure that only those worthy enough could wield its power. Ryu wished to live in peace and harmony, and he was given immortality and a magical garden atop the largest mountain in the land, the Spine. Xanthos wished for the return of his king, Levid, who had fallen in the assault. But the spirit did not want to return, so he wished to be the guardian of the royal family, ensuring the lineage would somehow continue. He was allowed to return to Tarasin with new powers and wisdom. Ravilion wanted nothing but to return to her land and live out the days in peace. She was transported back to the Underdark as an immortal protector of any innocents that happened to wander into its depths. Centuries passed in peace until the short war between Tarasin's new empress, Lydia, and the kingdom of Telium came to an end. After her victory, the land continued to be at peace, as if nothing had ever happened. The war ended so quickly that by the time people had gone into hiding, it was already over. Lydia lifted the banishment on magic, and all those who hid their gifts no longer worried about the consequences of using them. She rebuilt Maladavia, although it was retaken from her by the elves of Moonbrook. They wished to preserve the grounds of the royal family and did not believe she was worthy. When the ancient kingdom was under the protection of Moonbrook, something amazing occurred. The Gornagaya appeared with a flash of light and embedded itself in the throne of Maladavia. No one knew why the sword had returned, or where it had been these few hundred years. All who attempted to remove the blade from the throne failed. The elves believed the sword had returned to choose a new rightful king to rule. Whoever the blade chose would be worthy enough to resume the throne of Maladavia and create a new order of the Gornagaya, full of trusted companions who also believed in peace. But the elves also believed that the sword returned because a great danger was near. It first chose Levid when the gods were sealed away during the Dark Crusades. This history the elves knew of and kept secret. But who would be chosen? What makes someone worthy enough to wield this legendary weapon? And what danger was so great that the Blade of Kings needed to return? This is a new adventure, a new chapter in the land of Tarasen. Another epic journey filled with adventure, danger, companionship, fortune, love, corruption, and loss. What will you write on these pages as we continue along the path of the unseen trail?